This is a demo of the Personal Planning Registry. We're going to have an overview of the registry system, including how to register and what to register. My name is Joann Taylor. I'm the Registrar of the Nidus Personal Planning Registry and the Executive Director of the Nidus Resource Center, a non-profit charity which operates the registry service. Nidus is a Latin term for nest, a symbol of support and safety. Nidus was established by a group of community organizations in 1995, and those community groups had led a grassroots law reform of adult guardianship. Nidus is a nonprofit organization and registered charity. It provides education and assistance with planning in case of incapacity, for end of life, and other support needs. Nidus operates a registry service for storing all types of important information and documents and enabling access to others. Why register? Well, a disaster can be sudden and unexpected, just like a healthcare crisis. Think of a wildfire, a flood, earthquake, tsunami. Think of a car or sports accident, a stroke, or serious infection. The registry helps you be prepared before a crisis. It also helps you be resilient during and after a crisis while you cope with the circumstances and the aftermath. Even a known event, like maybe pregnancy or even end of life can be a known event, relies on good preparation. Here is a brainstorm list of some things that people register, things that you and others may need to know and find. For example, the location and copies of legal documents authorizing others to carry out your wishes, a list of people to call. Where's your spare key? Do you have pets that need to be fed and cared for? Do you have food and drug allergies? What's your medical history? What prescriptions are you taking? Where's your pharmacy? A checklist for bills, income sources, tax, online accounts. Contact information for your financial institution, financial planner, insurance company. Consent for body donation, prepaid funeral expenses, memorial society memberships. Depending on the situation, people might need to find these things. Backup confirmation of your wishes about organ donation and burial or cremation. So the Personal Planning Registry is about connecting the right information to the right people at the right time. With the Personal Planning Registry, you are in control of the information and who has access. This is not always the case with government systems and social media platforms. We've been hearing a lot about Facebook, and they've allowed other organizations to have access to information. They've made those decisions. With the Personal Planning Registry, you're in control. It's a self-managed registry. And the idea is that everything is centralized in one place. It's convenient, it helps coordinate communication, and it provides secure storage with 24/7 access. Because email is not secure, and people change and lose their devices or they're not compatible over time. So it's for the short term and the long term. Here are some brief examples of why people use the registry for themselves and for others who care and want to help. Mom's in the hospital. She had a stroke. I know she made a representation agreement, but I can't find it. And some of you will recognize this date, Christmas Eve. And that is a example, somebody contacting the registry for this very reason. Yes, Mom had made a representation agreement some 15 years ago, and it was safe and secure in the registry, waiting until it needed to be used. Everyone was very relieved. Another example, we had a call from people whose house was burned in a wildfire, and they couldn't remember if they had registered representation agreements for their sons. They had 2 sons with disabilities. Yes, they were registered, thank goodness. And Nidus was able to explain how to get those registered copies. They had stored copies in the registry of the agreements, how to get them recognized as originals because the originals had burned up. Another example, my mind froze when the nurse in emergency asked about my father's medication. Then I remembered, oh, it's in the registry. Because when there's a crisis, you're not always thinking straight. So the registry helps you focus. The information is there. You can access it. So I can kind of identify with this one because my dad had Parkinson, and medications are very important. And even more important is that you take them at the same time every day. So having a list somewhere and a reminder is helpful, especially when the unexpected happens. What can you register? Well, you can store information, and you can actually enter what we call a personal information record online. So that's something you can do now, immediately. You can set up your registry account and start using it by entering information in the personal information record. You can also store copies of documents that you've made. For example, legal authorizations, home insurance policy, copy of your passport, travel itinerary, and other things. You get those scanned in PDF format after you've made the document, and then you can upload to store it in the registry. And then it's available for when you need it. You can also store video and audio files that you created, and you can upload those from your phone or other device, so they're available. You can download a wallet card from your registry account, and you can make as many as you want. Here's an example of a wallet card that was printed in color and laminated. And Sylvia can keep one in every wallet, purse, glove compartment. She can give a copy to people that she authorized in her legal documents. I wanted to briefly highlight some of the supporters of the registry, and these are supporters also of Nidus and also of BC's legislation, particularly representation agreements. And this is a poster we did for a launch event of the updated registry system. The registry has been online since 2002. We developed a new system with the latest technology in 2014, and we had an event. We didn't know how many people would come. We had to close the doors because we had 250 people show up for this event. And here we have Hugh McClellan, one of the top lawyers in BC with wills and estates, trusts, adult guardianship, personal planning. And Hugh is a lawyer with McClellan Herbert and helps Nidus with our fact sheets, with analyzing court cases. Catherine Ermenko is the current public guardian and trustee. Their office uses the registry because they are the last resort. If people don't have a plan, or if it fails, they have to figure things out and be able to help. So the registry is a resource for them. Ron Usher is a lawyer, general counsel for the Society of Notaries, and he teaches at Simon Fraser Universities for people who are wanting to become notaries, and he is a former president of Nidus. Christine Gordon is a consultant in the field of people with disabilities, and she also coordinated that grassroots law reform of adult guardianship that I mentioned to you, and has helped create some very innovative programs for people with disabilities. And David Chalmers is a well-known, much respected financial advisor currently with Nicola Wealth Management. And he is always checking with his clients to make sure they've got their legal documents in place in case of incapacity, and he lets them know about the registry service. And of course, security and privacy are top priorities for Nidus. Our privacy consultant, David Flaherty, you may recognize the name or his picture. He was BC's first Information and Privacy Commissioner, and he still works as a consultant. He volunteered his services to Nidus for the registry because he thinks it's a great idea, and he keeps up to date with privacy issues provincially, nationally, and worldwide. Our technical team, Gravity Technologies, is based in Vancouver, experienced with the software and web applications, but a great resource on security. I'm often checking with them to make sure that we are up to date with our policies at Nidus. And because I know we're all influenced by the stories we hear in the media, and don't forget, the media reports the, worst cases and the scary things, and that gets us worried, of course. But the online personal planning registry, our data, our information is encrypted. We use passwords to protect access at security and industry standards. We have to comply with privacy legislation. For example, the Personal Information Protection Act. All of the registry data is stored in Canada in a secure place with 24/7 on-site security. Administrator access, which is like the back end, being able to access the data and information, is very limited. We only have that access for 2 or 3 people, and this has actually been one of the problems with some of the breaches that you've been reading about in the media, is that some companies have given so many people administrator access that you can't control the security anymore. We're very picky. And all activity is recorded to enable an audit report. I also want to make the point that security is also in the hands of you when you register. You need to keep your password protected. And we have a fact sheet to explain some of our security policies and also ways that you can protect your own data. Okay, let's go have a look at the online registry, and we're going to go to the Nidus website. I'm just going to click on that link, and we'll go to the main website, and you'll see that there's a tab called Registry here in the top blue menu bar. And there's 2 drop-down options, Registry Information and Registry Instructions. If you click on the first one, you come to the information page, and you'll see that there is some basic information in the right sidebar. There's the security fact sheet, links to things that you can learn more. But I want to draw your attention to the top here where it says new to the registry, click here for instructions. If you're not familiar with online services or types of registries, this would be an important place to go. So if you click that, you will go to our web page, the same as if you clicked on registry instructions. We're now on that page, and you will find links to very brief information with screenshots about how to search for a registry account, how to set one up, how to register, all sorts of tips. And I would really encourage you to read these before you start doing things in the registry. You'll save time, you'll save money, you'll avoid mistakes. For the demo, we're going to go to the online registry, which there's a link here in the top of the right sidebar. And you'll see that the registry has its own site. It's a secure site. You can see in the address bar, HTTPS. The S tells you that it's a secure site. And this is the home page of the Personal Planning Registry. And there's a number of doors, as I call them, that you can go in to the registry service. And we'll look at some of those a bit later. But right now, we're going to look at how to get started, how to create an account. That's the first step. Create an account and then you register something. Now we do have a section called Registration Agent, and that's for lawyers and notaries public who are authorized to register documents for clients. So this would be legal documents that they are helping clients make, and they can help with the registration. Many people will be creating their own registry account. They might do some things with a lawyer or notary public, but other things they can do themselves. So for self-help, you'll click on Create Your Account, and you'll see at the top here is what we call a progress bar. And that will become familiar as you are using the registry, because you'll see that on all the other pages. And it just lets you know where you are and the next steps. So when you're creating an account, the first thing is to enter your name. And it's important to spell your name properly. So you type in your name. Maybe for some reason I go by Rose. It's not one of my given names. It's not on any of my ID, but for some reason that's what I'm called. So there's a option here for common name. You can type that in. Because when people do a search to see if there's anything registered, the registry will use the various names that are typed in. So type in the name and make sure it's spelled correctly, because once it's set up, you can't change it. You would have to contact the registrar, and there'll be a fee to change the name on the account. You enter an email address. You can change it later, but make sure it's correct, because that's the email address that will receive confirmation that an account is set up and that a registration is made. And if it's incorrect, you won't get that confirmation. And there's a place to type it again, because we're trying to avoid mistakes. I saw a lot of mistakes, so I asked the tech team to make people just type it again. You'll create a password, and the rules are here as to how to do that. And then you confirm what your password is. That's pretty standard. Everybody has to tick this first box. I accept the terms and conditions. If you want to read them, click the link and read them. You have the option to say, I want to be reminded to review my registrations. You'll get an email to remind you about that. And you can also tick this box to say, I would like to get information, for example, the Nidus newsletter that tells us about any changes to the law, any education opportunities, new resources, anything about the registry features. If you tick this, you can always unsubscribe later if you don't want that information for some reason, but it's a good thing to at least give it a try. Now let's say I'm helping my dad with his registry account. He's not so good. I said he has Parkinson's. So at a certain stage of that disease, it was more difficult for him to do things on the computer. So I might be helping him with the typing. So it's his account. It's his name. So people often make a mistake and they'll put the name of the person who's helping, right, who's named in the legal authorizations. Don't do that. This is the name of the person who the document or information belongs to, about them, because that's how the search is going to be. Now maybe I'm going to help my dad manage the account because I have legal authority from the documents that he made, so I'll put my email address. But it's very important that the only people who can tick this box to accept the terms and conditions, because this is like a contract, either my dad has to do it because he's capable of consent, capable of understanding what this means, or I can do it on his behalf if I have legal authority. And a paid caregiver, a paid home support person, government staff, they don't have legal authority to do things on people's behalf. Okay, so just make sure, read our fact sheet on creating an account because we explain some of that. The next step, I'm not going to go through all the steps, is contact information. So that would be contact information for myself if it's my account, or for my dad. Now maybe my dad is in a care facility. Put his address, his current address and phone number. The address is the care facility, not mine, his. Nobody's going to write him a letter, but it helps identify he's the right person, because Joann Taylor is not a very unusual or a unique name. So we might need to resort to some of that information. That's how it works in legal documents. You put the person's address and their identifiers. So if it's my dad's account, his personal identifiers, like his birth date, his care card number. When you've got the information in the registry, you still have what we call a verify step, which is like your proofreading step, and you can make changes. You read it over, make sure it's right, and then you get to make changes. And at that step, you click submit and you'll have created an account, and then you go to a page where you can do a registration. When you click submit, you will get an email to that email address saying that an account has been created, and you will see the Nidus ID, the number that is assigned by the registry system. And if for some reason you're called away and you only have time to create an account and you don't have time to do the registration, you can come back. You'll need that email with the Nidus ID. So let's show what happens if you need to sign back in, or of course once you've registered, you've created the account, you don't do that again. The next time you go in, you're going to enter the Nidus ID and the password that you created. So let's look, I've made a fictional account, and so we're going to go and look at that, and I'm just making sure that I type it right. So we get in, type in the Nidus ID and the password and click sign in. So this is Sylvia's account. Now when you come the first time, you create the account, and then you come to do a registration. It'll say welcome and have the first name. So welcome Joann or welcome John. In this case, Sylvia's fictional account that I made. Nothing will be registered yet. So you'll just scroll down a little ways and you'll see this heading called Registration Options. And that's where you'll start. Now let's say Sylvia is going to register a representation agreement, which is a legal document in British Columbia that covers health and personal care matters. There is a type of agreement that can also cover finances. So have the agreement or the document beside you, and you're going to type in the date that it was made, and or there's a drop down and you can enter that information. The location of the original, and I would strongly encourage this because people do forget where they put it. So maybe Sylvia is going to keep it at home and she types her name and her address, etc. This is the most important section where it says more details. And this is where we tell people be specific about where you're going to keep it, so that if somebody else needs to find the original, they've got a little bit of help. So maybe you're putting it in the bottom of the closet. I'm just going to do that for the sake of demonstration. But if you can give something specific, because just having your house, that's what generates those questions. I know Mom did it. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find it, right? Because maybe all Mom said is it's in the house. Where in the house? The next part is where you can say you're in control, who's going to have access to the information that you are typing in here. And this is for the third parties. So you look at the agreement, what authority does it cover? So Sylvia's agreement covers health and personal care matters. So she's going to say yes. Okay, yes. You know, she lives in Vancouver, but if I'm traveling in Prince George and I'm in a car accident, yeah, I want the health and care and personal care institutions in Prince George to be able to find it. So these people have to get pre-authorized by Nidus, but then they'll be able to help. Then the next step is whether you're going to store a copy of the document. And we recommend that because it helps speed up communication. So you can tick now or you can tick later. If you tick later, please read our instruction page because you can add this copy later at no extra cost, but you have to do it properly. So people often make a mistake and they try to register another document with their upload, but that's not how you do it. So if you check later, please check the instructions and do it properly. If you click now, you'll see there's a browse button, so you can find the scanned PDF copy that's on your computer, or maybe it's on your USB drive, and you can upload it, just like when you send an email and you make an attachment. And then you're probably going to tick this box because you want the same health and personal care institutions that are going to see the information you type in to be able to see the copy, right? It's all about communication. You know, people have used mail and handed in hard copies, etc. And, you know, you can certainly still do that, but this is to help you communicate faster and find things for yourself as well. If you are, you know, some distance away and you don't have access to a copy right then and there. The next step is where you would type in who you appointed in that document. And do pay attention to your document, look at your document, and when you're typing in the names that you put them in the right role, right? You know, if they're an alternate, we've made a place for you to enter the name in the alternate, under alternate. right, so that it is done properly. Then you can verify, proofread, make a payment, and I will be discussing the registry fees. And you can pay online with your credit card or money from your PayPal account, or you can also pay by check. We do allow that, but you have to mail the check, and then we email you a coupon code. So if you want to pay that way, don't do these other steps until you get the coupon code, because they will not, the information will not be saved. You will have to do it again. When you're finished, you'll come to a confirmation page, and again, you're going to get that to the email address. You can print the page if you want, but you're going to get that confirmation to the email address that you entered in the beginning. And then you'll see a button that says Return to My Account. So when you click that, it takes you back to your welcome page. And here we are. Sylvia registered her representation agreement. This is a link. It's under my current registrations, and it's a personal planning type of document, so it is listed in that container. It's a link. If you click on it, you'll see the information that you typed in. Sylvia typed in the name of her representative and her alternate. And if their phone number or address changes, she can click Edit and keep that information up to date. You do not make changes on your original legal document, because that raises suspicions and concerns, but you can update information here in the registry. If we go up to this section here that says where the original is located, we can edit that information. Let's click here, and let's say Sylvia is going to move it from the safe in the bedroom to the third drawer of the china cabinet. Save changes. Now that's up to date, right? So that's important. You'll see that there's a field here called Uploaded File. And if you did not store or upload a copy, it will say no file uploaded. And when you click Edit, the Browse button will come up, and you can do it then at no extra cost, right? You add it to your registered information. Sylvia uploaded hers already, and you'll see it says View Document, and if you click on that, I'm not going to go through all the steps, but it will be available to you, and you can have a look and just be reminded of what you did. You'll also see there's a button here for Share Document. So Sylvia probably wants to share it with her representative and her alternate, and she does that by typing in their email address one at a time, types it in, and clicks Share. And she can share it with other trusted individuals. Make sure they're people who know about privacy and that you can trust with your information. Going to return to the account. You'll see that there's a green container here. This is Sylvia's account, so this is information about Sylvia. She can view and edit. If she moves, she can change that information. You'll see that this is where the link to download that wallet card is. And also, these are links where she can look at the shares, who she shared different documents or registrations with, and she could cancel those if she wants. She could also share her whole account. These shares are just for viewing. The people you share with cannot change or edit your information. So it's up to you. As I said, this is a self-managed registry. You can do it, and you decide. You have control. Now I want to show you a couple of other things quickly. We have a section for other documents. So this is what people might use for their home insurance policy, or things that you want to store in case you're in a flood or a wildfire or some kind of disaster. You will be able to find these things later. And you'll register them initially under registration options where it says other documents, and you click on that and you give it a title, and then you upload the copy. So get that copy scanned in PDF format if it isn't already, and it's just like the other the representation agreement that we were looking at. You browse and you add it. I suggest that people give a a generic title like current will. Don't put, 2009 will. Put something like current will, or, insurance policy, something like that. And here again is the progress bar that tells you the steps. Not a lot of steps for that. I'm just going to return to the account so that I can show you. So Sylvia has 3 of these other documents that are registered. So if I click on that, it's a link. She's got her home insurance policy for 2017 uploaded. And if you click on this, you can view it. Let's say, Sylvia's got her 2018 policy already, and she wants to replace the 2017 one with a current one, which is what you want to do in case of a disaster. You can do that by clicking up here. See where it says Edit Information or Replace Document. If you click on that, the Browse button appears again, and you can replace that document with your newest one, the most recent one, at no cost. So we make it really easy for you to keep things up to date. And under travel info, Sylvia has a copy of her passport, right? Because I think it lasts for 10 years and then you have to get a new one. But you can't use the copy. But if it's stolen or lost and you're overseas, at least you've got something to start with. Because even if you're overseas, this is online, you can access it and then contact the embassy. Under audio video files, as I mentioned, maybe you want to take a short video of your workshop and tools or your cars in case of a disaster and you need to show the insurance company. Maybe you want to make a statement about your beliefs and values for other people, to your family and friends. Whatever it is, you can store that here in the registry as well. And the last type of registration I want to explain to you is what I was talking about, the personal information record, and I said you can do that online. So for all these other things, you have to have already recorded a video or already have made a document that you're going to upload, already have made a representation agreement or enduring power of attorney, and then you register it. But for the personal information record, you can do yourself. You make it online, and that's why it has a different colored button. So when to create this, you click on it and then you pay for it, and then you will go to it and it belongs to you. And it'll appear here under your current registrations at the top as a link, and when you click on it, then you can go in and make changes and add things and delete things and use it however you want. You can also share it, right? You could print it. It doesn't look beautiful, but if you want to have a hard copy, you can do that. Now, there's a bar at the top. You don't have to go in any order, though. It isn't progressing like the other steps. So it'll always start with emergency info, and you'll see that Sylvia has listed her emergency contacts. She also has made a to-do list, which, if I was helping Sylvia, I'd be so grateful to have a to-do list, because when something unexpected happens, I might not be thinking straight. Where do I start? Oh, yes, I forgot. Yes, Sylvia has a cat named Kitty, and if I can't find it, it might be under the bed. So I better get busy because it's going to need to be fed and looked after. Oh, and her dog might be at the doggy daycare. So here's the address. I mean, maybe she has, she's helping a parent with dementia who might be at an adult day center. So who knows what it is? But this is very, very helpful. I had one mom say to me, I'm going to do this right away because I look after everything for the family. And if something happened, my spouse wouldn't know where to start. And so this will keep them focused and will also be good for the children because all the activities and everything will be listed here. So as I say, you can click anywhere and use this however you want. I haven't spent time to fill everything in for Sylvia, but just as an example, if I'm helping her and I need to know what financial institution she deals with, because maybe I need to make sure the bills are getting paid, she can list those here for me, and I will be able to go. We don't want you to put PIN numbers. We don't want you to put account numbers because you need to go or contact the institution, provide your ID, and then they will help you know what accounts to access. But just even knowing who to contact is going to be very helpful. Okay, let's go back to the account, and we're done here in the account. So this is a security measure. Click log out in the top right hand corner, and then you go back to the main page of the registry site. And I'll just tell you a couple of other things very quickly. I explained to you about lawyers and notaries using this door for a registration agent. If you're not sure you have an account or mom has an account, you could do a search here. You can't see what's in there, but it's a place to start to see if maybe there's something in the registry, the person has an account. It's a place to start. Access user are for those third parties that are authorized to have access to a document. So they have to get pre-authorized. They have a login, and I'll just quickly show you what that looks like, because I know that that makes it a little more concrete. I hope I'm typing this right, the password. I do make up hard passwords because you're supposed to. So that's what we're advised to do, and change them. So here we have Helen Neely with one of the health authorities, and she's going to be looking up Sylvia Starr's record. And of course, they always have your date of birth and your care card number. Now, if this person is authorized for emergency access, it's much faster and much easier. They just need the information on the wallet card. It's very easy. But this isn't an emergency access. So we just need two identifiers, and we allow a birth date. Even though it's not a unique identifier, we allow that to be one of the identifiers, because this is the way we find, and then we have the care card number, which is unique, and this is the way we can find the record. So we click search, and they would be able to see Sylvia shared, not shared, sorry, she permitted access to her representation agreement to health and personal care type of institutions. So we logged in as if we were from a healthcare institution, and we get to see what Sylvia has in her record. We can't change it or edit it, but we get to view it so we can get on with finding her representative, etc. So the first thing you'll see at the top here is a good thing for third parties is it tells them when the search was done. They can print this page, take a screenshot. It's proof that this is what was available on that date at that time. They can see who it belongs to. There's a place for registrar's note where I can type in things that might be important for third parties. In this case, we're just letting them know this is a demo fictional record, what type of document, where the original is located in case people can't remember. Here's that link to view it so the healthcare provider can click and see that, can save it, can print it, who's listed, and this will have the most current phone numbers in it, right? Because Sylvia keeps it up to date, and they can get hold of Brian because maybe Sylvia's been in an accident and she's unconscious or she's very confused and we need to find the right person. So this is the idea of how it works. And obviously the healthcare people have to contact the registry and get authorized for access, but it's built for them, and they have the same log out button and to go back out. So the public guardian trustee is an access user. There's financial institutions that are access users, and that's how it works. So that's just a quick overview of the registry. Let's just quickly go back. I just wanted to tell you what we hear from people who say, you know, if there's a registry for wills, which we have in BC, not every province has one, but we do in BC, but it's used after you're dead. So surely there's a registry for information and documents while you're alive because time could be of the essence, right? So that's what the Nidus Personal Planning Registry offers. And we say that together we can be effective and efficient. Often, I think in the past, the traditional approach, government thinks that if they didn't create the information and they don't manage it, then it can't be trusted. But in this case, the public has a vested interest you know, in our matters that affect our quality of life. And we can take responsibility for managing our own information and who has access to it. I also wanted to share what an emergency room doctor told me. He said, you can never have too much information, Joann. And so that's why we give authorized ER staff emergency access, and they can, if they find the wallet card, which apparently they do, a wallet biopsy, that's what they call it. If you can't speak or tell them who to call, they can find your information. And we've allowed that to be used for emergency access. Obviously, they have to make a little bit of effort to get authorized. There's no cost for that. We don't compete with the BC Wills Registry that's run by the government, but that registry you can't store a copy, and people wanted to be able to do that. So as you saw, we enable that under other documents so that it can be a complement to the system that the government runs. And the same for land title. You know, people can register revocations, which is like a cancellation notice for an enduring power of attorney. They can register that on the Nidus Personal Planning Registry. That could be really important for the land title registry to know. So again, we are trying to complement these other types of registries and provide people with a way to reinforce their wishes. So there is no need for health authorities or federal, provincial, municipal governments to duplicate or recreate registry systems. That might have been something they, you know, did in the past, but it's you know, there's only so many resources, and taxpayers are going to say, well, if there's something already in place, why aren't you using or linking to it? So public and private services could use the Nidus registry for the benefit of the public. Not only are they saving money, but they are contributing to social good, because Nidus is a nonprofit charitable organization, and the registry service is sustainable. It pays for itself. The costs are covered by the registration fees, and that's what we're going to look at next. These are one-time fees. You don't have to pay annually. They're one-time for the life of the document. So to set up your account and register your first document is $25. That's the same fee we were charging in 2002 when we first launched the registry system. Very modest fees. And then each additional document is $10. So Sylvia had a representation agreement. Maybe that was her first document, $25 for her account and her first document, $10 to register a copy of her will, $10 to register a copy of the home insurance policy, $10 for the travel info, $10 for the personal information records. That might sound like a lot, but for most of those are one-time fees for the life of those documents, and as you saw, she can replace her home insurance policy, for example, with the more recent one at no extra cost. So they're nominal fees. There's no fees for viewing or searching or sharing, and no fees to update contact information. And these fees, as modest as they are, cover the cost of operating the registry and storing information. We get a lot of value in the nonprofit sector. So it's what we call a sustainable service. It's there and it's working. So we invite you to go to the Nidus website. You can get started with registering your personal information record. As I said, it's online. You could also contribute to the ongoing education work of Nidus, helping yourself and others by making a charitable donation. And as you know, at the website, we have the registry tab that you can get started. You'll also see other tabs with free information, lots of information. Sometimes feels a bit overwhelming, but take it one step at a time. And if you scroll down a bit at the home page, there's the donate button. We're a charity, so you get a tax receipt for any contribution. Thank you for joining us, and please stay tuned for other presentations under Get Help. You'll see there's a link here to a list of presentations, and there's also a link to other videos that you can learn more. So we'll say bye for now, and hope you will be able to take advantage of our services and information.